How can anyone believe that Kamala Harris is popular, that price controls would solve inflation, or that open borders are ultimately good for the economy? How could an entire country founded on liberty allow their churches, schools, and businesses to be shuttered for years because of a nasty flu? Even on the most fundamental truths of human existence, like the difference between men and women, our society seems to be incapable of recognizing obvious fact. The cry heard most often from conservatives is one demanding a return to common sense. But what many fail to understand is that common sense requires a common tradition. Without a shared moral framework through which to understand our world, self-evident truths quickly dissolve into a quagmire of relativism and propaganda. Any society that grows beyond a certain size inevitably relies on the authority of institutions. When a civilization is small, the authority of families and tribes provides a natural scaffolding for social coordination through the perpetuation of religion, folkways, and traditions. But as a society expands to encompass new territory and peoples, it must shift some of that burden of authority into specialized institutions which allow coordination to scale. These institutions often emerge out of the organic needs of society and carry generations of hard-won knowledge, making them critical pillars to the success of the nation. This nexus of religious truth, cultural folkways, tradition, and institutional authority combines to create what most people think of as common sense. This thick web of culture allows the average person access to untold generations' worth of knowledge and wisdom, effortlessly shaping the way they see the world. Novel ideas about gender, history, or ethics are checked against the collective experience of society, and only the most resilient new ideas are woven into the fabric of the tradition. Like a fish in water that doesn't know it's wet, an individual who's submerged in a proper culture is guarded against the most poisonous extremes of ideology without even realizing it. In 2024, the average American has lost all contact with the social forces that would create common sense. The foundation of truth, a real and vibrant belief in Christianity, has been fractured. Due to culturally indiscriminate legal immigration and an open border that regularly allows millions of unvetted illegals to enter the country every year, large foreign populations of different faiths have radically altered the religious makeup of the nation. Far more destructive is the modern obsession with secular neutrality, which has sought to purge religious influence from both public institutions and private life. Without a shared moral vision, there can be no basis on which the average person arrives at a common sense conclusion. The modern obsession with individual freedom has also broken down institutions of family and community, which are critical to grounding the culture. Young people are encouraged to leave their community in search of education and employment opportunities, abandoning the social networks which perpetuate their way of life. Marriage and parenthood are coded as low status, and individuals are instead encouraged to engage in a series of disposable relationships that allow them to focus on their empty careers as corporate widgets. Young couples are priced out of the housing market and, separated from the assistance of extended family, rely on expensive childcare while both parents work to make ends meet. For most, the professional and personal cost of family make it a goal that is increasingly both unfashionable and out of reach. Fraternities, church groups, bowling leagues, civic associations, and other voluntary social organizations that used to define American life have fallen away as families shrink and irreligious, rootless cosmopolitans retreat to their apartments. Online dating, Netflix, and grocery delivery make it possible to live a thoroughly modern life without any organic social contact. Becoming middle class no longer means the independence of property and the posterity of family, but access to a wider range of subscription services to be enjoyed in isolation. The fact that this lifestyle helped to facilitate lockdowns across the population during the pandemic isn't an accident. When the individual is separated from religious truth, cultural folkways, family, and even the most basic daily social interactions, reality can quickly become distorted. Common sense is not some inborn grasp of truth, but an inherited store of knowledge and wisdom that makes the navigation of complex scenarios seem obvious. Without these organic social connections, the individual becomes untethered and highly susceptible to propaganda and suggestion. The relentless tide of information flowing through television and digital media, combined with the curated algorithmic delivery of social media, can rapidly and radically alter how an isolated actor sees the world. With the continuity of tradition and the organic ground of community stripped away, the individual becomes reliant on the authority of institutions as the basis for truth. This can work for a time, but if those institutions themselves become separated from their founding duties and the people that they were meant to serve, organizations that were meant to stand as pillars of truth can quickly become conduits for lies. Public health experts, scientists, journalists, academics, and even military leaders have proven that they're willing to sacrifice credibility to conform to political power. With this shattered epistemology, truth loses all ground and media manipulation becomes the engine through which the elites maintain power. If conservatives wish to see the end of rule by media and the return to common sense, they must first recreate the social fabric which enables it. Individuals can only become resistant to media narratives if they have regular contact with reality and a higher tradition against which to measure new information. A man locked in his home watching streaming entertainment and having food delivered to his door can be fooled into thinking a pandemic is ravaging the world outside. A man who is regularly attending church, meeting with friends, and bringing his wife and children to the park can easily observe that the media is spouting nonsense. The solutions being offered by progressive politicians like Kamala Harris are absurd. They stand in opposition to the moral truth, economic reality, and social custom that once seemed obvious to us all. But as the shared social fabric which once bound our communities together has worn away, common sense has lost its foundation and isolated individuals have become highly susceptible to manipulative media and corrupt institutions. If conservatives would like to see a return to common sense, they must first revive the traditions and communities that once informed all that we held in common. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time to do so. If you'd like to get these broadcasts as podcasts, make sure to subscribe to the Auron MacIntyre Show on your favorite podcast platform, and if you do, leaving a rating or review really helps with the algorithm magic. If you'd like to pick up my book, The Total State, you can do that on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, or your favorite bookstore. And again, if you do it on Amazon, rating or review there helps a lot. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter or Gab or Substack or Instagram, if you'd like to watch these videos on Rumble or Odyssey, the links to do all of that are down below in the description. And of course, you can read all of my columns and watch all of my shows over at The Blaze. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, I'll talk to you next time.